You just say to me, you were looking away because you didn't want to.
Look in the mirror.
Why?
Because
Look up.
I don't want to look in the mirror.
Why wouldn't you want to look in the mirror? You're beautiful. You're beautiful. And it's important that you look in the mirror. And when you see your own reflection, you remind yourself of how beautiful you are. You don't avoid the mirror. Honey, do you see yourself? You don't see a beauty cake like I do? You sure? You're not, your energy says different. I need the energy to say, I am dope, I am fly, I am beautiful. My energy is like that. Turn around and look at yourself. And the sooner you say it and believe it, the sooner I'll leave you alone. Come on, where the Katie swag at? Let me see. What? You can't look in the mirror and say I'm beautiful?
Please.
Do it.
Fine.
Turn around. Breathe in deep. Give me 2 deep breaths. Come on. Give me deep breaths. Okay. One more. Okay.
Pretty. What? I can't see.
Beautiful. Come on.
I am beautiful as always.
As always, I like the addition. You gotta look at yourself when you say
I'm
it.
beautiful as always.
Come on, hold that eye contact with yourself.
I'm beautiful as always.
Come on.
I am beautiful as always.
And
I am dope.
look at yourself.
I'm dope in these glasses.
You're dope, period. I am honored to be your mom. I am honored that you're my daughter. You are so beautiful. And I need you to know that. So that when anyone says anything to you otherwise, you can look at them and laugh. So I need you to be open to receiving the positivity and closed door to the negativity. Like,
What?
I'm beautiful. Say it. Say it. Say it.
There you
Say it again.
I'm beautiful. Mom.
An absolutely moving and touching video of this mother and daughter. Like so many things just came to me watching this. The encouragement of my own mother and loving the fact that there are still mothers like the one I had, to encourage and uplift no matter what your state of mental, spiritual, or physical health is. Just watching her so full of life and confidence, it really made me proud, because this is a perfect demonstration of what it means to be in your divine feminine. A mother should be able to gauge the energy, not just of herself, but of her children, of her spouse, of her household, and be proficient in leveling out that energy and seeking it out and finding it. There are a lot of people who speak to women and their purpose as it relates to their femininity, but this part of the conversation, very rarely, in my opinion, and not enough, is it discussed, because this is the reason why having your femininity intact is not only necessary but powerful and highly dependent on in the family. It is knowing when things arise emotionally, spiritually, within the people around you, stuff that you don't generally have the words to express, but you feel the feeling inside of you. And this is the half of that parenting balance, that yin and yang, as above, so below, comes into a situation where you can bear witness to it. We also like to discuss, and we tend to have a conversation about the importance of the man in the equation of parenting. And he typically represents structure, while she represents something of this nature. That is the energy and the spirit as far as maintaining that balance. She is powerful in her ability to discern when things need to be focused on and given attention, also known as nurture. She, to me, if she is not a spiritual woman, she is still displaying that in her heart for her beloved daughter. And that I find to be absolutely amazing. To go a little bit deeper with the daughter, as you can tell, she is expressing her lack of willingness to look at herself in the mirror. Now, I am not sure, because I'm not the type to kind of go into the comments and do all this trying to pick what's true and what's not, because everyone will speculate. And I just want to focus on possibilities, because all of these possibilities can apply in this situation and could also be handled and supported in the manner that you see before you. If this young lady is having problems with her complexion, this is a beautiful conversation. If this young lady is having problems with perhaps her hair texture, or the idea of her wearing glasses, or being teased at school for one reason or another, this is a beautiful situation and a beautiful depiction of how a mother can handle this situation without exacerbating the situation. She has clear affirmations. She is not forceful, but understanding that she wants to make something clear to her young goddess. She wants to make sure that she is being heard by telling her, we're not leaving this conversation until I hear you repeat the words that you are beautiful as you are. And it's not a punishment. It's not something that she should feel is coming down on her. Of course, granted, you see her being filmed and that sort of thing, and that is a part of the discussion as well, because she may actually feel uncomfortable. Who knows? But I think that the mom and her have a close relationship. I believe that she feels safe with her mother, and I believe that she is at least confident in her mother's ability to know what she needs. She's not rebelling hard against her mother. She's more exhibiting a lot of shyness and just really meek, and I don't feel she is experiencing something that she would genuinely rather not be put through, yet is forced to experience. I think she's just being herself in her shyness and hesitance to speak power over herself and say the person she sees in the mirror is something or someone worth paying attention to, someone worth smiling at and deeming beautiful. Unfortunately, so many of our darker complected children, both girls and boys, have dealt with not only the stigma of their skin tone, but hearing unkind words coming from the people that are supposed to pour into them and uplift them and make sure that light shines brightly. I remember some time ago, I was working in banking, and I remember having a customer that had two beautiful young daughters. I want to say maybe 5 years old versus 2 or 3. And the 5-year-old was darker complected, a tighter coil pattern, while the younger daughter was lighter skin, similar to my skin complexion, and had a very loose curl pattern compared to her sisters. And because of the loose curl pattern, generally speaking, amongst people who are melanated, that's referred to as good hair, when in reality it is just a different curl pattern that takes different products and different methods to train the hair to operate in a particular way. But unfortunately, because of ignorance, because of our lack of understanding not only of ourselves, but of our counterparts as it relates to different skin complexions, we lack this knowledge and therefore discuss it in a shameful way. Don't get me wrong, there is a connection between our past as it relates to slavery and that kind of thing that also creates a little bit of this stigma. But there's countless children that do not like what they see in the mirror just based off of their skin complexion alone. I have heard some of the most hurtful stories coming from these type of scenarios. Now, back to what I was saying, this woman had these two little girls and they were both gorgeous and they just captivated me. And I remember in that moment telling her, your daughters are absolutely beautiful. And her responding with her face lighting up and just joy radiating from her. And she says, oh yes, absolutely, especially this one. And she was referring to her younger daughter, who would be categorized as being mixed or biracial because of her lighter skin and her loose curl pattern in comparison to her sister. And I remember the moment when it hit me in my chest and I felt so much pain for this young girl. I remember thinking to myself, this young mother couldn't possibly know what damage this could do. And I remember my brain just going a million miles a minute in all these possible scenarios in my head, saying that this is where the resentment between siblings developed. This is where the arrogance and entitlement issues of the lighter skinned child comes from. This is where the resentment and contempt and hate for self from the position of the older daughter comes from. If this were to continue throughout the course of their life and be coupled with other experiences from other family members, from school, and just from the media, all these things are reinforcing this same perspective, and it can cause a psychological deficit as it relates to how one feels about themselves, how they compare themselves to others, how they compare themselves to their family members, and just overall confidence and self-worth. And in that moment, I remember watching them leave and having conversations with my coworkers who were also different complexions from myself, and saying that we don't even know the harm that we cause in so many situations. So I really wanted to do this video because I wanted to communicate that just because an individual has a different skin complexion from you and a different experience, it does not mean that there is no validity to your experience. There is no disgust from myself to you, or hopefully from people you know that are lighter skinned to you. Granted, there are experiences, and unfortunately there are experiences that even the lighter skinned individuals have that make them develop a hate or a distaste in their mouth for their darker skinned counterparts. But we don't understand each other's experiences. And it's moments like this right here that I really wanted to get on the map, because this right here, this connection between this mother and daughter, will greatly affect how she sees herself. This situation right here not only will affect how she sees herself, but it will affect her confidence. It will affect her ability to smile. It will affect her ability to stand up for herself going forward when she meets other people that may shame her for this very same reason. Now, let's not assume that it's related to color. So let's say even related to her glasses. I know for myself, I was self-conscious in that very same area and was heavily teased, mind you. Children ultimately want to fit in. And regardless of whether or not it was related to her skin complexion, her glasses, her hair texture, or maybe even her clothing, regardless of what is really bugging her on the inside, watching her mother come to her aid, even out of nowhere, in a public bathroom, when her daughter says, I don't want to look in the mirror, right then and there is when we're going to have this conversation. And I think that that's beautiful, and it doesn't occur enough in your femininity as a woman, especially if you give birth to a girl. You are supremely in charge of her confidence, her identity, how she feels about herself, how she establishes herself in the world, how she expresses herself. It is your function and your purpose to make sure she's confident in the areas she may find herself weak. Not to say that it isn't also your responsibility to do that for your son, but it's a smaller window in relationship to your nurture, because ultimately he will have to learn how to be a man. And that is better, or best taught, in my personal opinion, coming by way of his father. And I say his father specifically because children need to be able to identify with the connection as far as the people who are raising them. Yes, can a child develop that same connection with the step parent? Absolutely. But understand that even though that step parent is present, the child knows full well that there is no DNA connection, and there's a high possibility that in their mind they're still trying to figure out or discern what traits come from their biological parent that's revealed within them also. Children need to see themselves, not just depicted in their parents, in their cousins, but on television and in their experiences in their everyday life. So this is a very important element for our boys as well as our girls. But since this is in relationship to a young lady, I'm speaking to the women. It's important for you to bond with your daughter. In my opinion, as a woman, no one should be doing her hair if she's not going to do it herself. You should be doing her hair. That is a moment for you to conversate with her, for you to bond with her, for you to teach her how to navigate her own hair, what products do and don't satisfy the needs of her particular curl pattern, so she understands there is no difficulty behind her hair. In addition to that, it also keeps the bridge intact. The bridge that says we can talk about anything. The bridge that says we are just as much mother and daughter as we are close friends that can open up about our experiences and our thoughts, because we know that what we have to discuss, what we want to express in relationship to our experience, is safe. And only your mother, and again, yes, we have stepmothers, but understand that I am advocating for the togetherness of the home, the trying to ultimately shy away and eliminate, if we can, the broken homes that tend to literally just run rampant through a lot of our melanated cultures. We have to focus on, if you created a child, you should be there to raise them. And if for any reason you are unable to be, thank goodness for good people that are willing to fill those shoes and play the role of step parent. But in the beginning, someone created you. There was your first person, your ultimate creator, your biological parent. And a child establishes their confidence in relationship to oneself, being able to view the person that they came from, not just in their mannerisms, but in identifying the same skin tone, identifying the same hair texture, identifying different mannerisms, liking the same things, and having commonalities between your parents affect your ability to be confident in those same areas as well. So having someone, not just anyone, but your biological parent, it heavily weighs on your experience. So to have someone like this woman here, who is not only ranting and raving about the beauty of her daughter, but trying to communicate that this has to come from you, and that you have the power to not be swayed by the opinions of others, if you can just establish this confidence within yourself. It is the ultimate love, and in my opinion, the most powerful demonstration of your femininity is to be able to do this for your children. It's so important. It speaks to your evolution. It speaks to your mothering skills. It speaks to your emotional intelligence. It speaks to your ability to be nurturing. It also speaks to your femininity and your connection with yourself. Even when your daughter is not in a position to talk to you about what's going on with her inside, you have a sixth sense about these things, and you understand that it needs to be talked about right there in the moment while it's existing. I want to extend my gratitude to this wonderful woman. And I also want to say to this young girl, if I genuinely hope that these words find you. Coming from another woman who I hope is just as perceptive as your beautiful mother, I can see a little bit of that hindrance and that lack of willingness to accept the truth and power that your mother is trying to hand you. And it says to me that you've had an abundance of experiences that you may not be able to get past, get over, or walk around. But even though you may feel it is difficult, your mother is absolutely right when she says that only your opinion about you is important. People will feel a way. They definitely will feel a way. But if you stop looking at yourself in the mirror, you will encourage other people to not look at you too. Remember, you are absolutely beautiful, just as your mother. And I hope you continue to absorb that energy from her and let it bring balance into your spirit. Because trust me, beloved, you may be looking in the mirror, picking yourself apart in the countless pieces that you are. But trust and believe, the people on the outside of you don't see what you see. They're not critiquing what you're critiquing. You may be a little bit of a perfectionist, and that's okay. But you have to remind yourself that imperfect is beautiful too. And you are absolutely beautiful and amazing. And for whatever reason that your mother needed to have this discussion with you on this day, I need you to know, and hopefully you'll see in the comments the countless women and young boys that have had these type of experiences, whether it be around their color, their skin tone, their hair texture, wearing glasses, being bullied, not having the fanciest clothes. But you will see all the countless people in the comments say that they were once in a position similar to you. And trust me, it does dissipate after a time if you can remember to affirm yourself. Remember to speak life over yourself. Remember you are worthy because you came from beauty. You came from love. You came from light. You came from laughter. You are the representation of the love that brought your parents together. And you will always be a manifestation of that. Your creation in itself speaks to the love that's embedded within you. Smile, baby girl. You're beautiful. To the wonderful and beautiful individuals that took the time to watch this video, please take the time to allow your children to watch these videos and have this conversation right now. You never know what your child is going through, so you must be receptive to the discussion and make sure that you create a safe place for them, because they should never feel like they will accumulate the same type of experience dealing with you that they deal with in the public, or hearing the same thoughts that they repeat to themselves. They should have an entirely different experience coming from you, because you're the person that loves them. You have experiences that you may be able to relay to them so they can understand that unfortunately there are some aspects of life that kind of just happen to everyone, and whether it's in a large amount or a small amount, it does affect us, but there is a powerful way to get past it and be your best self. So share your stories in the comment section, because there are still people that have grown well into adulthood that are still dealing with some of these things, tearing and stripping away their confidence and the feeling that they should feel, because everyone is welcome to feeling confident. Everyone should have that right to feel that they're beautiful and that no one is judging them based off of just existing when you didn't create yourself to begin with. So share your stories, talk to each other, understand that even the adults that are on this video today, in the comments today, have had similar experiences. Some of you are still hanging on to some of the hurts that existed when you were just her age, around your skin complexion, your hair texture, wearing glasses, braces, and like I said, clothing that may not have allowed you to fit in the way that you wanted to. And some of you did not have the benefit of having a mother that talked to you in this way. Hopefully you can use her as a catalyst to mend the wounds that your mother was not able to give you at the time that you needed it. Mend the wounds of the father that was missing that you needed at that time as well. Hopefully you can just close your eyes and imagine the person you love the most saying these exact same words, accept these affirmations into your life, and empower yourself going forward. Because just as well as this young lady here, you have the power to change your experience if you can just remember that you are beautiful, you're loved, and you're powerful. And the standard of any of those categories starts ultimately with you.